Greetings, my friends. I want to thank you all for subscribing. I want to thank all of my channel members for supporting me in this endeavor to save pop culture. And if you are not subscribed, please consider supporting this channel. We need you. Thank you. Greetings, my friends. I am Dictor Van Doomcock, the future ruler of Earth, broadcasting from my hidden base at the center of the Earth. And I stand before you today to share some alleged information with you, presented as rumor that if true will make the BBC and Russell T. Davies and Ncuti Gatwa very unhappy regarding the future, or lack thereof, for Doctor Who. It's no secret that the current season of Doctor Who, with its obsession with LGBTQ representation and failure to correct the nasty retcon of Doctor Who lore from Jodie's run, has been the biggest failure in the history of the franchise. Oh, you could absolutely argue that Chris Chibnall's run on Doctor Who was the death blow for the franchise, managing to mangle, degrade, and debase the entire history of Doctor Who in just one episode, The Timeless Children. And you'd be right to do so, because there's just not much point in moving forward once you realize the current showrunners are treating the previous 50 years of material as lies, that the Time Lords are child-murdering thieves that appropriated the secret of regeneration by killing a regenerating child over and over again, and everything these people present moving forward is based on that sick, twisted perversion of everything Doctor Who stands for. That was the state of the franchise when Russell T. Davies took over with a new season and a new Doctor played by Ncuti Gatwa. Those who hoped that Russell T. Davies would return the series to its former glory days of David Tennant and Matt Smith quickly had their hopes dashed when they realized Russell T. Davies wasn't interested in fixing the show. He wanted to make it more woke than ever, which didn't really go over all that well with Whovians.
Well, the Doctor was never shown to be a sex-obsessed horn dog getting down with or oogling females every week. In fact, the Doctor was never really presented as a sexual being at all, because Doctor Who was a family-friendly show that started out targeted towards kids and never drifted too far away from that demographic. Until now.
Not only drifted away from a family-friendly audience, Harvey Cthulhu, but actually sped away at top speed with adult-oriented themes and politicized aggressive promotion of the LGBTQ agenda, and fans reacted. Oh yes, they most certainly did, and not in a good way. As it turns out, all this political crap brought them nothing but ratings pain. In an article titled Doctor Who Scores Worst Ratings for Season Finale, our good friend Matt McGloin at Cosmic Book News sums up the decline and fall of the Doctor in the following way, quote, "The new series of Doctor Who now also holds the record for the worst ratings for a season finale in the show's entire 60-year history. Saturday saw Episode 8, Empire of Death, watched by only 2.25 million viewers according to the UK overnight rating system. The previous episode from last week, The Legend of Ruby Sunday, holds the record for the worst ratings in the show's 60-year history. Viewership is down considerably from just 6 months ago, as more than 2 million viewers have stopped watching from when the Christmas special aired in December. Series 14, starring Ncuti Gatwa, is also down 3 million viewers from the first special from last year, featuring the return of David Tennant," unquote. And here, ladies and gentlemen, is why Disney is allegedly looking to jump off of this sinking TARDIS. Here are the actual ratings for your consideration. As you can see, from the start of 2023 through the end of 2024, Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor lost over half of the fan base. I'm fairly sure this wasn't simply because of Gatwa and Russell T. Davies, although they certainly didn't help matters. No, I think this is the cumulative effect of all the abuse to canon inflicted during Jodie Whittaker's run with Chris Chibnall's, multiplied by the in-your-face agenda from the strutting, preening, constantly crying Ncuti Gatwa. The shockingly awful Devil's Court episode sure as hell didn't help either. Which leads us now to what one of my sources has told me about Disney's involvement with Doctor Who moving forward. At this point, I must state that what I'm about to share with you is information provided to me by a longtime source claiming knowledge of the situation, but since I cannot personally confirm any of this, I'm presenting it as unverified rumor, and I ask you to please take it with a grain of salt. So here's what I was told in regard to Disney's involvement with Doctor Who. Quote, I'm hearing Disney's pulling Doctor Who. They're going to let the existing contract expire, but they're out. Apparently, they were really pro the gay and trans content, encouraged them to double down. Reception was atrocious, and they freaked the F out and want the showrunner fired and now have opted to cancel. BBC can't afford to fund it themselves, especially now there's questions over its own solvency, so it's done. This is particularly bad for the BBC because they may be headed for dire financial straits. Here's what my source told me about that. Quote, the Culture Secretary in the UK is considering scrapping the BBC license, and it's not content that's pulling in ratings anymore proportionate to the budget. And then, with a correction, they sent me, the BBC is prepared to fund 1/3 of it. Another international distributor would fund the rest. Max doesn't want it, and everyone else said no, so... When I asked, where did you get this Doctor Who news from, and how credible do you think it is? My source said, right now it's 50-50. One source is saying it's already done. Another, Disney is on the fence. The only thing everyone agrees on is Disney was really unhappy with season 1 and is really trying to pivot hard out of the gay content. And if they renew their contract, there is a human sacrifice. It's Ncuti and Russell T. Davies. Are non-negotiables, unquote. Not only that, but now it appears that the BBC is being hit hard by the recent suspension of funding from the US aid program. Here's what the BBC had to say about it. Quote, like many international development organizations, BBC Media Action has been affected by the temporary pause in US government funding, which amounts to about 8% of our income in 2023-24. We're doing everything we can to minimize the impact on our partners and the people we serve. Unquote.
So it appears that these days the BBC is being turned every which way but loose, assailed on multiple financial fronts as the political tides turn. In such an environment, it appears at least plausible that a third season of a losing franchise like Doctor Who might not be in the stars.
That seems to be the consensus, O Skull of Calderon. I'm presenting all of this as rumor, and yet the stars do seem to be aligning in this. I suspect Disney, reading the tea leaves, is not all that eager to fund a third season of a proving ratings loser that appears, if anything, to be doubling down on the agenda crap with the hiring of a trans writer to the staff. As a result, the current Doctor Who may well be too woke, even for Disney. We'll see how the dust settles after Series 2 airs, but frankly, I can't imagine the ratings will improve in any significant way. If anything, I suspect more episodes of Gatwa strutting, rutting, and crying all across time and space will produce even more defections among former fans. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry. Ha 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 ha.